Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. We're kicking off today's video with a tale that proves no good deed goes unpunished. But before we begin, best way to support our channel is to leave comments, like, and subscribe with the turned-on bell so you don't miss the new video every single day. Here we go. Choosing Beggar demands my free couch, calls me worthless when told no. I moved into my new home earlier this year and decided to buy myself a new couch. I decided to give the old pull-out couch away for free because it was IKEA and kind of raggedy after 4 years of use. I also didn't want to put in any more effort than strictly necessary. In the advertisement, I put all the necessary information, model, size, color, and most important, when it could be picked up. I decided on the weekend before the new couch would be delivered, as my grandmother would be over on Friday, and I wanted to make sure she could sit comfortably. I posted the ad on Tuesday, then I got the first messages. She: OMG, I'm so happy that you're offering this couch for free. Me: glad you're happy about it. Are you able to pick it up on Saturday X or Sunday Y? She: I don't know. I don't have any means of transportation yet. Can you bring it to my place? Me: no, it's pickup only. She: oh, because I don't drive. Me: that's too bad. Does that mean you don't want it anymore? She: I want it. Can you hold it for me? Me: no, I'm sorry, but I don't hold things. First person to agree to a time to pick it up will get it. She: please, I'm a single mom and I live in a one-bedroom with my kid and I have to sleep on the couch and I've been eyeing this model forever, but I can't afford it. Me: sorry, still no. She: 5 minutes later: I have transportation. That means it's mine, right? Me: congratulations, yes, you can have it. Do you want to come and get it on Saturday or Sunday? She: well, see, my neighbor has to drive me because I don't have a car and I don't drive and we have to rent a trailer, so we're coming on Friday. At this point, I'm already done with it. I don't need her life story. I need to get rid of a couch, but I decided that if she could only do Friday, she could come at 8 p.m. or something like that. I told her that. Of course, this wasn't good enough for her. She: no, we'll be there at 3. We need to drive for more than an hour, and the trailer needs to be back at the rental shop at 5. Me: sorry, that won't work. I have company over, and I can't exactly ask them to sit on the floor because you want the couch. She: yeah, but you want to get rid of it, right? I'm willing to take it off your hands, and you know it'll get a great home with someone who's actually happy with it. Like I'm rehoming a puppy or something. Lady, it's a couch. Shoot arrows at it. Blow it up if you want to. I don't mind. Me: still no. The ad said pick up on Saturday or Sunday. I'm willing to do Friday evening for you, but I really can't do Friday afternoon. I can't ask my elderly grandmother to stand up because you can't afford to buy a couch. She: but then I can't get it. Me: I'm sorry. I hope you'll find something else soon. She: yeah, you probably have all the money in the world. You don't care if your couch goes to a single mom or not. Why don't you just want to do this for me? At this point, I'd completely had it with her. Me: look, I'm giving away a free couch. You're trying to make your problems my problem. It's not my problem that you can't afford a new couch. It's not my problem that you don't drive. It's not my problem that you only have transport on Friday afternoon. The ad was very specific on when it could be picked up. If you can't meet those very easy criteria, this couch is not for you. You want to pick it up on Friday at 8 p.m. anytime on Saturday or Sunday, or not at all? It was quiet for about 15 minutes. She: you are a worthless person. You don't care about others. You only care about yourself. You could have helped me, but no, you have to be selfish. Choke on that couch. So I blocked her and gave the couch to the next person who was very friendly about it, came on time, and had it disassembled and out of my house in under 15 minutes. Like I'm rehoming a puppy or something. Lady, it's a couch. Shoot arrows at it. Blow it up if you want to. I don't mind. Not to be that weird person on Reddit, but on a random side note, blowing up a couch or shooting arrows at it sounds pretty fun, actually. And our next story. Neighborhood Karen's aggressive vegan campaign ends in courtroom disaster. I moved into my home about 3 years ago, drawn by the quiet street and the promise of friendly neighbors. At first, it seemed like the perfect place. The other residents took good care of their houses, the yards were tidy, and it was easy to strike up a conversation with people during evening walks. I wasn't best friends with anyone, but we exchanged pleasantries, waved hello, and generally respected each other's space. It was the sort of neighborhood that felt stable and comfortable until Karen moved in. I remember the day she arrived, my neighbor across the street joked that she'd already been complaining to him about how his lawn wasn't environmentally friendly. He shrugged it off. People have quirks, and we all have different lifestyles, so I didn't think much of it. If anything, I found it mildly entertaining. Little did I know that this was only a small preview of what Karen was capable of. For the next few weeks, Karen's presence was barely noticeable. She kept to herself, and aside from occasionally seeing her bright green Prius maneuvering the tight corners of our cul-de-sac, I didn't interact with her. Then, one afternoon, I found a letter stuffed into my mailbox. It was typed in a large, bold font, and it was all about the horrors of meat consumption. At first, I assumed it was some kind of flyer, maybe from a local activist group. I skimmed it, rolled my eyes at the dramatic tone, and tossed it in the recycling bin. A couple of days later, another letter appeared. This one was more aggressive in its wording, calling meat eaters murderers and describing in graphic detail what happens in slaughterhouses. It wasn't signed, but the paper smelled faintly of perfume, and in the margin I could make out a faint indentation of a grocery list. Items like kale, tofu, and nutritional yeast. I started to suspect Karen was behind it, though I couldn't prove it yet. Over the next few weeks, these letters arrived regularly. Each time, they got angrier in tone. One lectured me about grilling steaks on a Sunday afternoon, claiming the smell of cooking meat was an assault on her senses. I recalled how the previous weekend I indeed grilled steaks in my backyard. The note took on a personal edge. How dare you subject the neighborhood to that stench, it demanded. It was both irritating and unnerving to know someone was watching me that closely. It also made it plain these letters had to be from Karen. Still, I tried to ignore it, hoping this was just a phase. Maybe she'd blow off steam and calm down. However, ignoring her only seemed to spur her on. The letters grew more extreme. She detailed the virtues of veganism and how humanity itself is doomed if we didn't all stop consuming meat. One letter ominously warned, "Your grill is a torture chamber and you're the executioner." It was simultaneously laughable and aggravating. Eventually, enough was enough. I decided to keep an eye on my mailbox. Since I worked from home part of the week, it wasn't too hard to peek out the window around the time the mail typically arrived. One morning, I caught a glimpse of someone skulking around the sidewalk, inching toward my driveway. Although they wore oversized sunglasses and a floppy sun hat, the bright green Prius parked nearby was a giveaway. It had to be Karen. She slipped up to my mailbox, glancing left and right in a cartoonishly suspicious manner. I watched her slide a folded paper through the slot, apparently believing no one could see her. Heart pounding with annoyance, I stormed outside. "Karen!" I shouted. "Really? You again?" She spun around so fast she almost toppled off the curb. Her face reddened instantly. In a comedic attempt to fake innocence, she stammered, I was just passing by." I held up the letter she'd just left. "This is at least the 10th time you've done this. Stop leaving these rants in my mailbox. I'm not going vegan, and this nonsense isn't going to change my mind." Karen's expression shifted from embarrassed to enraged in seconds. "You should be ashamed," she shrilled. "Eating animals is murder. You're participating in a holocaust against innocent beings." "Karen," I growled, "you don't get to decide how I live, and you definitely don't get to vandalize my mailbox with your garbage." Her upper lip trembled, and she looked like she might lunge at me. Instead, she spun around, stomped to her Prius, which was parked diagonally across part of my driveway, and fumbled with her keys. "Maybe I'll get my point across another way," she yelled, voice shaking with fury. Then she revved the engine. I had no idea what she was about to do, so I took a step back. My eyes widened in shock when I realized she was aiming the Prius straight at my mailbox. In a burst of motion, she slammed on the gas. Before I could even shout, the car smashed into the wooden post. It snapped with a loud crack, the metal box itself twisting as it collided with her front bumper. Splinters and debris flew through the air. She didn't stop. She just barreled over the remains, screeching away down the street like a getaway driver in a heist movie. For a moment, I just stood there, processing what had happened. Then I scrambled for my phone, managed to snap a picture of her license plate as she turned the corner, and stared at the destroyed remnants of my mailbox. If the letters were an annoyance, this was a full-on escalation into property damage. I called the police. The officer who arrived looked both astonished and mildly amused as I recounted the story. I showed him the letters, explained how Karen had been harassing me for weeks about my dietary choices, and showed him the photo of her license plate. He scribbled notes, shook his head, and said, "You know, damaging a mailbox is a federal crime. The Postal Service tends to take this pretty seriously." I'd heard something along those lines before, but it never occurred to me that the punishment might be so severe for hitting a mailbox, even if it was intentional. Still, I couldn't help feeling relieved that there was a legal framework for holding her accountable. I provided my statement, and the officer assured me he'd file a report and forward the information to the proper authorities. Less than 48 hours later, the drama intensified. I got a call from another neighbor who said 2 men in suits, federal agents it turned out, had knocked on Karen's door that morning. Mailboxes, after all, are considered federal property once they're registered with the Postal Service, and intentionally destroying one is no small matter. My neighbor told me that Karen seemed frantic, trying to talk her way out of it, but the agents noticed fresh paint scrapes on her Prius's front bumper, matching the color of my mailbox post. The next thing I heard, Karen was facing charges related to property destruction and possible mail tampering. She ended up in court, and I was called to testify. I presented the letters she'd left, recounted the entire confrontation, and described the moment she intentionally plowed into my mailbox. Karen tried to turn the proceedings into a soapbox speech about animal rights. She claimed I was provoking her with my backyard grill, that the entire neighborhood was against her progressive lifestyle. The judge didn't buy any of it. His response was swift and blunt. "Miss Karen, your personal beliefs don't give you the right to destroy someone else's property." Ultimately, she received a sentence that included a short stint behind bars, a significant fine, part of which had to be paid directly to the Postal Service, and an order of restitution for me to replace the destroyed mailbox. The day she moved out of the neighborhood felt like a weight lifted off my shoulders. No more unsolicited letters, no more lectures, and definitely no more vehicular assault on my property. Imagine moving into a peaceful neighborhood, minding your own business, grilling a steak on a nice Sunday, and suddenly you have a mailbox full of angry vegan manifestos calling you a murderer. Moral of the story is, your dietary choices are your own, folks, and destroying a mailbox to prove your point, probably not the best tactic. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.